everyone, and welcome to Cellular Healing TV. I'm your host, Meredith Dykstra, and this is episode number 169. We have our resident cellular healing specialist, Dr. Dan Pompa, on the line, of course, and today we welcome special guest, Mike Bledsoe. Before we get into today's topic, let me tell you guys a little bit more about Mike. So Mike Bledsoe is the host of Barbell Shrugged, Barbell Business, and The Bledsoe Show. Mike has been coaching and honing his own health and performance for over 20 years. With the goal of creating the biggest impact possible, he uses video shows, podcasts, software, and entrepreneurship to reach as many people as possible. As an athlete, he has competed and coached many sports, primarily weightlifting and CrossFit in the last decade. As an entrepreneur, he successfully co-founded Faction Strength and Conditioning, home of CrossFit Memphis, and Barbell Shrugged, and Barbell Business. He has a passion for helping others grow, define, and achieve success. Amazing bio. So excited to have you on Cellular Healing TV, Mike. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm super excited.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, we were talking, before we got on, and your philosophy with exercise just transcends into our philosophy with diet. Diet variation, and we will no doubt move into that, that comparison. But, I always love to ask this, first of all, I thought you were in the mountains, right? To me, folks, doesn't he look like a mountain guy? I'm in the mountains, right? He's at the beach. I look like a beach guy. He looks like a mountain guy, over there in San Diego. I tell you what, though, man, our viewers and listeners are going to love your podcast. I mean, I've heard nothing but amazing things, and you have a really huge listening and viewing audience. So right up front, man, tell them how to jump onto that stuff, and then after you do that, I want you to tell us how you got into this.
Excellent. Yeah. If you want to check out what we got going on, just go to barbellshrug.com or hop on YouTube or iTunes and put in Barbell Shrugged. And we have a lot of fun. So we make strength and conditioning, nutrition, all of that. We make it as fun as possible. And most of the stuff we cover is functional fitness oriented. So we're not really into the physique stuff, bodybuilding stuff. We're more into how do you move and how do you exercise in order to enhance the life you want to live. I got into doing video shows. Well, shit, I got into fitness when I was 15 because I was always drawn to movement and sport, and I always wanted to learn more. Went to college, got exercise science, saw that there was no gym like I wanted, like a nice functional fitness gym. I was introduced to CrossFit, which back in 2007 was very, and in regard to functional fitness. Before that, most gyms were designed for bodybuilding. Yeah. So it was really cool to have something come along and really changed it up for us. Opened up a gym in 2007, and then in 2012, we had done really well with our clients. We had done really well with our business. So in 2012, I started podcasting and doing video shows, and we really just, a lot of people ask how we've had so much success with that. And to be honest, it has to do with just being consistent, always showing up. I'm super fortunate that I started the show and I just kept going, plugging away week after week. And that really exposed me to the best coaches and scientists all around the world, because I travel around and do it in person. And so the majority of my education, I had been pursuing education from the age of 15 to 30. But when I started doing the show, I started learning at an accelerated rate because I was getting to spend time with some of the best in the world. So it's been a really fun journey.
Yeah, it's so true. I interview experts from, on every topic, that I can find that I feel knows the most. And gosh, you just learn so much, even preparing for the interviews, right? It's fantastic. No doubt. I was just traveling, and I had time, and we were down with Zach Bush, who created a product called Restore. It helps fix leaky gut. And I sat in the room with 4 scientists, myself and Joe Mercola, and I think we would both echo that we learned more in that hour and a half than, we had in, probably months. It was like condensed learning. So you're right. It's just, we're blessed to be around some of the greatest minds, and we're blessed to be able to share it with so many people. Honestly, I feel so fortunate. Well, listen, we both agree, movement is needed for the sick that want to be well. Without movement, they become worse. However, we have a lot of people who they don't have enough energy to do the exercise that this person would do, but they still need to move. And then we have this group of our followers who wants to lose weight, struggles to lose weight, wants hormone optimization and anti-aging. Both sides need movement. So how can we please both sides? And let's talk about some movements that you've discovered, because you've got a lot of tricks and gadgets, man. But anyway, so let's try to talk about both of those groups and how, because movement is healing. Without movement, we die. No movement, death. Movement, life. So talk about it. You're the expert.
Yeah. I think as Westerners, we really, one of the reasons movement is so challenging is because our attention is on the outcome of movement. And so we're always concerned with, we are looking at, oh, what are my hormones doing? What are all these numbers look like? And what, and like, if I do this, what do I get out of it? And for me, the very philosophical approach is, I'm a human being. I was made with 2 legs, 2 arms, and I'm supposed to be moving. And I think that, was it Thomas Edison said that the purpose of the body is to carry the brain around. And he was dead wrong. And that was, it's that type of mentality that gets people completely jacked up. And I think it was Descartes who said back, I think it's 14 or 1500s, and he was this scientist, and he started talking about the mind and the body as separate things. And so now what we end up having is we walk around talking about the mind, and we're talking about the body as if these are 2 different things, and they're not. These are nice little labels that we put on things so that we can divide ourselves against ourselves. And so the fact that we're even dividing ourselves against ourselves makes movement challenging. So my first challenge to anybody who wants to live a better life, and the thing is I don't think of myself as a noun. I think of myself as a verb. I am a process. I am something that's happening all the time. And so that means that I'm a kinetic being, and I'm always in movement. Sitting still is not good. I know that I learn much more quickly when I'm in movement. I might have to go to a conference and sit still for a long time. Do you know how I process that information? I get out and move creatively. I dance. I do animal flow. I get out in the ocean. And so movement is part of the human experience. Wow. And I think that so many people are looking at, I want this outcome. I want to be healthy. I want to lose this weight. I want to do all this stuff. And they're missing the boat, because what they're doing is saying, I want to be different. And in order to get there, I have to do all this stuff that I don't want to do. And they think about, I got to do step 1 and step 2 and step 3. And it's like your human experience right now. You are a human being, or we could say, I like to think of myself as a spiritual being having a human experience. And is my human experience meant to be sitting at a desk all day? Is that what the human experience is supposed to be? Am I supposed to sit in a classroom from the age of 5 years old until the age of 22, 8 hours a day, and just sitting there and absorbing information so I can regurgitate it, so that I can hopefully get a job where I sit in a cubicle all day? This is from the very basis. If we're thinking about movement as I got to go to the gym 1 hour a day, we already have a problem. And so for me, I really want people to think about themselves as having a human experience at all times, in which case I think they start making different decisions. And so for the person who doesn't move hardly at all, I mean, add up the amount of physical activity that you do. If you are going to the gym 1 hour a day, that's 1 out of every 23 hours. I may be resting 8 hours in bed. I'll go from bed to the kitchen, to sitting at the table, to walking 10 feet to their car, to sitting, to walking in their cubicle, sitting. They're basically sitting and laying down all day.
Yep.
And then when they go to exercise, they get hurt. Well, yeah, you're totally jacked up. You can't move. You can't go from, I don't take my car out. I don't take out like a Ferrari, start it, and then gun it down the road immediately, and then wonder why I threw a rod, And so
Right.
I think a lot of times would be in a lot better metabolic condition if they just moved throughout the day and just it was something that happened. And so for the person who does not move a lot, go for a 10-minute walk first thing in the morning. That's it. No expectations. I think for a lot of people who are out of shape or overweight or not happy with their bodies that don't go to the gym, I imagine that they're intimidated by the gym environment. There's a lot going on there. We may have had experiences with personal trainers who expected way too much of us too soon. This happens in CrossFit all the time, and this is the world in which I've lived for a while, and we've had to really, a lot of what I've had to do is help those coaches dial it back for the average person, because they want people to squat below parallel on day one. I'm like, well, somebody who's not walking for 10 minutes a day, let's just go for a 10-minute walk and drink some water.
Yeah, right.
Let's keep it simple. And so for the person who doesn't move a lot, let's work up to 30 minutes of walking. I want you to walk 10 minutes every other day this week, next week, and then work up to 30 minutes. And then you might want to find somebody who is a personal trainer who is really dialed into looking at how you move and making assessments, not just throwing some general program at you. So
even your interest in what you want to do, right? Like, remember we had interviewed a guy, from here, Park City, and he helped my wife. She cycling, was what she wanted to get better at. He said, okay, this is your interest. And he developed functional movements around that, transformed her cycling without, pains or etc. So anyways, perfect point.
It's got to be fun. It's got to be engaging. And, and for the more advanced person, someone who does move a lot, I really encourage you to think about being present when you're in your movement practice, connecting your movement to your breath. And if you're thinking about what happened before or after your movement practice, that session, then you're not present in what's happening right now. I think that, for the longest time, I trained for the purpose of reaching a goal. Now when I move, it's about really enjoying the movement that I'm doing. And so, yeah, doing things that I enjoy is important. And then another thing to consider for someone who's more advanced is most people do gravitate really far to one thing. And I think in the beginning, we should just do the things that we enjoy. And over time, you can get a taste for things and develop a taste for something. So a lot of what I did was very masculine in nature. And what I mean by that is a lot of my movement practice and my training was accomplishment based. I want to put so much weight on a barbell, or I want to run this thing in this amount of time. And so it's very accomplishment and measurement based. I can measure my progress. Whereas there's more feminine oriented movement practices where there's not a lot of measuring going on. There's not this big accomplishment thing. This would be something like yoga or certain types of yoga, especially yin yoga, and then dance. Hardly ever is anyone going to a dance class and then, we may be comparing ourselves to other people, but it would be subjective in nature. So I would really encourage people that do have movement practices, if they're really in a masculine movement practice like CrossFit or weightlifting or being a triathlete or something like that, is play around with some of the more feminine, whether you're a man or a woman, dance, yoga, and then vice versa. If somebody's only done yoga and dance and things like that, they could really benefit from having the more masculine nature.
Yeah, you're challenging me right now because, I gravitate, what I grew up with, right? I love weights. I just love moving weights, just love it. Can't get it out of me. But I love cycling, I love cycling. I love hiking. I love being in the woods. However, put me in a room with people standing on one leg stretching, I would rather die. I mean, it's like stretching anything. It's not like, why are we doing this? I'm looking around, right? I mean, so it's, now, Mike, don't take this the wrong way, man. You don't look like a dancer. You just don't look like a dancer. I'm going to make you back up.
You didn't see me Saturday night.
I want to see it. But, now dancing, I like myself. I do like it, but I'm not going to, I look at that as more fun, right? And I get your point. You don't have to defend it. It's absolutely exercise. But, point being is this is what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to be like, oh, you know what? I'm going to exercise. Oh, yeah, here, I got my iTunes. Yeah. And I'm not going to just start dancing. I mean, maybe I should. That's me. But anyway.
Well, it's a difference between a creative movement, right? It's like creativity is a feminine trait, and it's having creative movement and play. And so if you watch a 5-year-old at a playground, they are just playing.
Oh, yeah.
You throw a 25-year-old or a 35 or a 45-year-old on the playground, and they just kind of stand there and look around. And if they did start playing, they would be so worried about someone judging them.
True.
And so one of the things that I really been working on with myself and with other adults is teaching them how to play again, because there's a difference between you go in a gym, that's in a box. You are literally walking into a box and doing box things. I'm going to do this movement, up and down, left and right, right? And so when you get into creative movement, that's extremely important, because that if you want to talk about like processing or thinking about creativity in your mind, you create creativity in your body first. And there's a theory which I subscribe to, which is your memories are stored in your fascia. And if your fascia is not getting the type of movement it could be getting, then your creativity is being hindered tremendously. And for somebody who's a professional, if they went and what's it called? They pulled the top 500 CEOs for like Inc. 500, and they look at all the top CEOs, and they pulled them and asked them what was the most important trait for being a cutting edge CEO in business right now. And they said creativity was number one. And so because we have robots and people in third world countries managing a lot of left brain activities, if you're not practicing creativity physically, you're going to be hindered mentally as well. And so I think a lot of times, going back to your body's not just here to carry your brain around, it's all one integrated system, and we need to be treating it as such. And I just going back, I think it's really sad that we have put the mind, we separate the mind and the body, and then we say sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. If your grades are bad, then we cut recess, we cut sports, and then what we do is we're saying the mind is more important than the body, and then the body is where our emotions and feelings come from. So now we're saying your feelings and emotions are not important, the mind is important. And now we've created an entire society of people who don't think that the body it's just not important. And so they may intellectually say that, but they don't really believe it. And so if someone can't believe that the body is important, and they don't really love it, they're doomed for failure, really.
Yeah, no, exactly. Okay. So the fun part, I mean, I hear my echo. There's that echo again. Anyways, show us some of these unique movements. I mean, show us some things. So give us, I think you already handled some of these people who are very sick and challenged. I thought that was great advice. I mean, just by, walking 10 minutes a day, I think we go, oh, what's that going to do? No, that's transformative for moving lymph. For that's, all these things. And you said something else, and I want to get to this. You're moving and, trapped emotion in the fascia, in the tissue. Without movement, that only accelerates. Movement can at least start that process. We need movement to move toxins out of the body. And, obviously we can go on and on, but that even little bit, 10 minutes is a big deal. On this side of things, people that, have enough energy to exercise, want to take their fitness to the next level, their functional movements, their health, their anti-aging. What are some movements here? And you might have some other suggestions over on this side too. I don't know.
Yeah, it all comes down. It's hard to say because everyone is fairly individualized when it comes to this. I think everybody should be able to sit in the bottom of a squat for 10 minutes. So if you can't sit at the bottom of the squat for 10 minutes, then and it takes most athletes have a hard time doing this.
I couldn't do it.
And if you can't sit in the bottom of the squat, we'll just say for 2 minutes, I would say that you're dysfunctional.
Okay, I can do 2 minutes. I may be able to do 5, but I know that when I'm there, because I've done it, right? Just like in a stretching position, by 5 minutes, I'm burning. I know Olympic athletes that can't do it, and they're dysfunctional. And what that means is they're most likely that tells me they're at risk of injury. And so like sitting at the bottom of a squat can really help you reset your body. It resets your breath. And so I get really big into breath. And if you sit at the bottom of a squat, try to chest breathe. You automatically start breathing from your diaphragm. Most people walk around chest breathing, breathing into the ribs, but they're not really breathing. And they're doing a lot of shoulder. People who have neck pain and things like that, they're not really breathing into their belly. They're not really expanding their diaphragm. They're not expanding their ribs. And so if you're in the bottom of a squat and you're hanging out there for 5 or 10 minutes total in a day, then what you're going to do is you're actually going to start repairing your breath at the same time. All movement, breath, that's your core. If your core is not strong, and it's not even about strength, it's about are the motor patterns built in the order in which they're supposed to? So what ends up happening a lot of times is we get into a situation where we start chest breathing, and what's really happening is our breathing, the mechanics of our breathing is the muscles are firing in the wrong order. And so that greases a groove over time, and now we forget how to breathe deeply. And anytime we're not breathing deep, we're throwing the sympathetic nervous system up. So that creates stress hormones like cortisol and things like that. And so if we try to fix people biochemically and we're not addressing breath, we're just doomed to go back. We're just doomed to go back to higher cortisol levels. Wow. And that throws everything off. Absolutely. By the way, this is great advice for the person over here challenged. I mean, and the person over here, this squat thing. Because here, I'm the person over here. I was over here going, I can't do that. And then the sick person is going, I need to do that, because they need to get their breath right. They need to get that firing, that parasympathetic and sympathetic working right. And that was just unbelievable right there, that this is a simple way to do it. You could start with 10 seconds, right? I mean, work up every day.
Yeah. So my first thing is like accumulate. I like to use my iPhone, and I just hit the start-stop button on my timer, and I accumulate 10 minutes of squatting every day, sitting in the bottom of the squat. And I'll do 30 seconds here, a minute there, and things like that. And I know that if I accumulate 10 minutes at the bottom of my squat every day, it's going to keep my hips nice and flexible. My hamstrings are going to be healthy. People think about all this stretching that needs to happen. If you just sit in the bottom of the squat for 10 minutes total a day, everything will be just fine.
I'm doing it.
I'm not saying you're not going to need I'm not saying you're not going to need additional work, but yeah.
I'm going to do it. But people may not understand exactly what we're talking about. Pull your camera back and just show them. I mean, I understand it, but I mean, believe me when I tell you. So look at the legs on that guy.
Yeah. So I'm just sitting in the bottom squat all day, like here.
Now, are you going all the way down and just in a relaxed position, or are you holding yourself?
I'm making sure that my back stays pretty straight. So I don't want to be like this. Back. I'm going to rock back a little bit. I'm going to make sure my toes are really engaged with the floor. But I'm going to sit right here. And I like holding myself up. I like trying to keep my back pretty flat and straight. So you're not going to hurt your back if you don't.
Now, I mean, most people though aren't going to be able to. They're not strong enough in their quads to hold themselves up. Should they? They can just sit straight down, right?
Yeah. Go. I'll show you again. Just kind of. Yeah, and just kind of sit. You can just get all the way to the bottom and just kind of hang out down here.
Right.
I like to just put my elbows right here and just hang out. I usually have my iPhone in my hand and I'm texting. I'm working from there. I'm texting from there.
Right.
I don't sit at a desk at all. I stand at a desk, or if I'm on my laptop, a lot of times on my belly on the floor.
I'm standing,
and
there's certain times where I'll pop down. You know what I'm saying? For whatever I'm doing something, but 9 times out of 10 I'm standing. Now, do you nose breathe or mouth breathe when you're doing that?
I try to nose breathe most of the time, even when I'm exercising. A lot of nose breathing. I noticed that I'm more likely to shoulder breathe if I'm breathing through my mouth. If I'm breathing through my nose, it adds a little bit of resistance and it forces me to take a deeper breath in. It also slows me down. So I can take fewer breaths per minute, which forces me to have to get a fuller breath each time. And so my general rule is I should be breathing out my mouth when I'm talking, and that's about it. And
right.
I'm not saying there are training sessions where I'm breathing out my mouth. It's it's grueling. I'm just like, oh, I'm out of breath. But I wait to get there, because the moment you start breathing real heavy in and out of your mouth, that means your sympathetic nervous system is kicked into gear, and which is not necessarily a bad thing. You just want to time it well, when you're there. So I would say, whether someone's advanced or not, test yourself. Can you accumulate, what's it like to accumulate 10 minutes of sitting in the bottom of a squat in a day? And so you don't even have to go to the gym. So I would say step one is, if that's a challenge for you, if 2 minutes straight is just impossible, then accumulate 10 minutes a day in a bottom squat. That's 10 minutes. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to do anything else. If you do that, you're going to get massive health benefits from that by itself.
Great. That's great. You have another trick? That's a great trick. I want another one. I mean, maybe
another one. This is actually similar. Is I like to accumulate 7 minutes a day, hanging from something. Oh. So this challenges grip, and it also is good for the shoulders. Your shoulders should be strong enough just to hold you. So I'm just hanging up here from my rafter and accumulate. There's workouts where what I do is I just switch between, first thing in the morning, I'll just switch between hanging from my rafters and sitting in the bottom squat.
That's awesome.
So I'll just sit in the bottom squat for a minute.
You can't hang there for a full 7 minutes, can you?
No.
I was going to say.
Depending on.
Yeah.
I know. I have some friends that can. They'll just walk up to a tree. 7 minutes. It's incredible.
I was setting my high school pull-up record, right? And I realized my greatest challenge was my grip. It wasn't my ability to pull myself up. I was failing in my grip, which was weakening my ability to pull up. So I had to start doing one-handed hangs, right? Because I was realizing that my grip is absolutely failing. And I remember getting to myself doing a 3-minute one-arm hang, but it took training, and I was younger, right? It's it took a lot of training to get to a 3-minute one-arm hang, man. It was try 1 minute, folks. You think 3 is short. It's an eternity.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
I couldn't. Hanging from one arm?
Yeah. It's, even now, 1 minute.
It takes a lot of shoulder strength, too.
Yeah, it is. It is.
A lot of shoulder strength. Yeah. There's a lot of benefits, especially as people get older, doing the static holds. So when we were younger, doing the explosive stuff where we're jumping on top of things and running as fast as we can and just going nuts was okay. And what we've noticed, what I've noticed is as I've gotten older, the joints don't feel so hot.
Yeah.
And there's many reasons for that. And there's many reasons why this would help that out. And I won't get into the nasty details of it, but static holds are really nice. 90% of my training, I am either doing a static hold, sitting at the bottom. Static means just being still and having some resistance, I'm hanging from a rafter. I might be hanging with my chin over the bar. Is static holds, and then, or doing planks for your core, things like that. A Superman hold on the floor. And then when I'm at the gym, I'm doing a lot of eccentrics. So that means I'm going really slow on the way down with pauses. And then I'm still coming up. Say I'm bench pressing. I'm still coming up with some speed. On the way down, I might be 5 or 6 seconds on the way down. That really saves the joints. It really helps with more muscular recruitment. And it allows you to maintain muscle mass, because as we get older, our muscle mass is decreasing every year. On average, the studies say after the age of 35, you're losing about a pound of muscle a year.
Crap.
And so muscle is really important. Hmm?
Yeah, I don't like that statistic. I'm 52 this year, man. My goal is to be bigger this year. Come on. No, I don't care to be bigger, but I want to hold on.
If you're training, you don't have to do that. Yeah. So it's a lot of people lose muscle mass because they stop moving, and movement, and it is the stimulus necessary for muscles to grow. And we need muscles, and we need good motor pattern recruitment, because I'm 35 and I'm already thinking about this is, I don't want someone having to wipe my butt when I'm 85, and when you look at people
I do. I want some, but I just don't want to have to do that anymore. I'm just thinking about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to work on this now. I'm going to call my wife in and see if we can arrange this. No, you're right. You don't want to have to do that.
Well, and what that is people can't wipe their butt when they get older because they lack T-spine rotation. So that means their upper back can't rotate, right? So I got something funny I do, which is I have a squatty potty. Are you familiar?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I use a squatty potty, and then when this might be too much for some people, but I'm gonna say it anyway. When I wipe my butt, I stay down in the squatting position and I alternate between hands. So that's how I do my T-spine rotation work, is when I go to the bathroom.
Now you and Ben Greenfield must know each other. All right, so
we're buddies.
I know, exactly. So I'm out to dinner with Ben, right? And I'm with my good friends. I introduced him to Jeff Hayes and some really close friends. And every time he went to the bathroom twice during the dinner, and he came back huffing each time. So of course the question was asked, dude, what are you doing? Right? You come back from the bathroom, huffing. So he says, oh, I do what he calls piss squats. So every time before he would go to the bathroom, he would squat 40 times up and down, up and down, up and down. So, Ben's the guy who runs down to get the mail, sprints back, does push-ups. Okay, so, I've got to ask Ben if he's doing the potty squatty, what do you call it, rotations. And the answer is probably going to be, rotation. If the answer is no, it's I'm going to start now, what I'm saying, because that's what Ben does.
Absolutely.
I was just on. I
will have started something before Ben. I'll rub it in.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally. Anyways, but anyway, so yeah, we were just on a call with Ben, ironically enough. But yeah, did you have a Ben Greenfield edge to you for sure, no doubt. Listen though, I'm telling you that we can laugh about that, but that is something more transformative. I mean, that really is, because that's a basic movement that if you lose, your life is different. Your life is not good, literally, not just wiping your butt, but turning around in a chair and, picking something up and throwing your back out, for goodness sakes. I mean, there's a lot of consequences to not being able to do that.
And going back to movement and movement being a stimulus for the human body to regenerate, and this is especially so for lightweight white women, tend to have more osteoporosis. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they haven't done as much weight-bearing exercise.
Yeah.
And so what ends up happening is when people get older and they break a hip, statistically, they don't live beyond another year. You break a hip, it's pretty much it's a sign of osteoporosis. It's a sign that you're not moving. It's not the broken hip that's causing the problem. It's just that when you break the hip, it's probably you weren't moving already.
Yeah,
your bones are weak. The fact that you fell means that your muscles don't move too well. And so afterwards, it's really easy. And I've got friends who've had parents that have gone through this, and I've heard that it's like they throw in the towel. It's already gotten to that point. It's already gotten to a point where they just don't have the will to break back through. And so for me, that's another thing, is I look at situations like that, and I don't think I'm ever going to be in danger of osteoporosis, but there's always something that you might need to stave off. And for me, it's about, okay, I'm going to regularly introduce stimulus that's going to cause my muscles, my skin, my bones, my eyesight, all this stuff to be challenged, so it'll grow stronger and be stronger over time, because I don't want to ever have to be at the risk of breaking my hip and end up, being a burden on anybody else and on myself. Again, going back to what I was saying in the beginning, I'm a verb. I am not a noun, and I am having a human experience, and I want to enjoy this human experience, and that involves movement and getting really connected to my body.
Dude, I have to go back to the squatting thing here. I'm really excited about this. I had got the lecture in Africa, right? And I was talking about posture, et cetera. And I talked about the importance of the squat. Well, the gentleman that ran this whole conference literally comes out, jumps up, on stage and says, okay, wait a minute. He's been telling the people of Zimbabwe, because he's a big, important leader, the importance of getting back to squatting. He says, look, we used to squat. Everyone used to squat. He was talking about it preventing hip fractures and, bones and the hip problems. Arthritis opens up the knees. And he went off on this whole education about why us Africans have to get back to squatting. Chairs, you're killing us, etc. And so, he had everyone doing the squat, right? And barely anyone could do it. And it's like, anyways, preventing hip fractures, squatting. Right, you talked about the breath. I didn't know that. That's another benefit. The sympathetic parasympathetic. Come on, I didn't know any of that. The knees. Squatting and what it does for the knees. That's another big, huge problem. How many people are having knee surgery and meniscus problems when squatting is shown to improve the knees, the hips, and the low back? Not to mention the neck, because when you're in a squatting position, it forces the head back. This is what America looks like. Even kids. Here's what they do. This is what they look like.
Yep.
When you're squatting, you're in the exact opposite position. It literally forces the spine and the head back over center. Yeah. Anyway, we have one more thing because we're running out of time, and you and I could go off on that. Because, by the way, I think you just gave amazing advice. I really do. That applies. It was funny. I started the show by saying, "How can you please these people and these people?" Holy cow, you did it! Because I'm going, I can't squat. Right? I'm like, I can't squat like that. You know what I mean? It's like, and these people are going, okay, I can do that, but I'm going to go up here with it. I'm going to do 10 minutes. All right. So you mentioned trapped emotions, and I'm a big believer that trapped emotions are a massive, massive stressor that can keep people from getting well. Keep the person here that wants to be better from being better. Trapped emotions is no different than trapped toxins. We talk a lot about bioaccumulated toxins at the cellular level. You talked about emotions being trapped in your fascia, one of your theories. I absolutely see that, because I believe trapped emotions can be in the DNA. Now, we talked about ayahuasca. I think this is, and we can't talk, this is just a really cool thing, because it's an herb from South America that actually releases trapped emotions. And just talk a little bit about that. I know we can't get this in the United States, but I still think it's a really cool thing when we're talking about trapped emotions.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, especially for a lot of men in America, they think about emotions. They're like, I don't need to worry about that. And that's a really big sign of suppression of emotion. And those are usually the people who could use it the most.
Absolutely.
And And so what usually happens, a lot of these emotional trauma that's stored in the body impacts your posture. And so I've witnessed people go releasing emotional trauma and then walking differently afterwards, squatting differently afterwards. It's really incredible. Myself, I've gone down to Peru. I've sat with ayahuasqueros and done ayahuasca and gotten the benefits of it myself. And what's interesting about the trapped emotional trauma, a lot of that was put in there. We could say it was installed or whatever pre 7 years old. So when people are really young, because when we're that young, we think everything is true. So not only do we have emotional trauma that's stored in the body, it created a belief. If, around this or that. And so, and having these subconscious beliefs that are running in the background keep us from achieving the things we want to achieve. I think a lot of times people who need to lose, they want to lose weight, right? They're carrying around more weight. The physical weight is indicative of the emotional weight that they're carrying, and it being in the subconscious means that you can't really become aware of it. And so what I'll share is just a really quick summary of what I've experienced with ayahuasca and how it works. Now, ayahuasca is a tea. And so they brew this tea over a 24-hour period. And the tea is made from 2 ingredients. It's made from an ayahuasca vine and another leaf. I don't quite recall the name of the leaf. So they take this vine and they take this leaf and they chop the vine up and they put it in water with this leaf. And they basically boil it over a fire for, I think, a day or 2, constantly stirring it. And then they bottle it. And so, if anyone starts thinking about what is this thing, it's from the Amazon.
Right.
It's a vine and a leaf. Now, what you do is you sit down with an ayahuasquero. This is somebody who works with the medicine, and you drink the tea. So about between 10 and 45 minutes after drinking the tea, I'll say I go into basically a different state of consciousness. So I am pulled into closing my eyes, and I go into somewhat of a dream state full of visions. And then the world that we know that we're touching right now completely ceased to exist. And then I go into a dream state, and I'm being shown all these things in my life. And I've gone to memories, and it starts basically giving me I start seeing scenes of my life as memories. And I've gone as far back as when I was nursing at my mother's breast.
And by the way, I want people to understand, this is not this is not a hallucinogenic herb. It's not, because people, of course, get these trips on LSD. This is different. I know enough about it now.
Technically, it is hallucinogenic, but that's not the primary. It's not a recreational thing. You would not, and anyone who's ever done this would not do this at a party. This is not something to be done recreationally. And in fact, I would never do this without being under the care.
I thought it doesn't hit the
someone who works.
It doesn't hit the same receptors as, say, LSD, right, or mushrooms. It works in a different way. So therefore, they weren't classifying it as a hallucinogenic, but yet it does this same what you're saying, right? So they would say, okay, it's hallucinogenic. Explain. Am I right on that?
It's more direct. So what's happening? So with ayahuasca, what's happening is you're drinking. So all plants have this thing called dimethyltryptamine, and dimethyltryptamine is also produced by your pineal gland. So that little gland in the middle of your brain, and it drips dimethyltryptamine when you sleep and causes dreams. And dimethyltryptamine is also released in a massive dose when you die, and it creates an experience where you see the white light and all that kind of stuff. And so, it does create this dream state. And then what happened for me is I was actually able to go into memories that I was not able to recall without the tea. So I was able to go as far back as when I was nursing my mother's breast. And if you talk to any psychologist, they'll tell you that going pre-verbal, that means before language was adopted, is almost impossible. And the reason it's impossible is because we use words to create memories, right? And thoughts. And so what we do is we package these memories as thoughts, and these thoughts are formed by words. And so going pre-verbal can be really for a society full of people who are not in touch with their bodies. Because if you're not in touch with your body, that means that you cannot access memories that only are associated with feelings. Because we're not in touch with our feelings, we're not in touch with the sensations of our body. Now, the people I know who are highly in touch with the sensations of their body actually can go pre-verbal much more easily. So if you're somebody who goes, oh, I don't really remember anything before 5, 6, 7 years old, well, that might be a sign that you're not in touch with the sensations of your body. You get back in touch with that, and all of a sudden, all these memories just start flowing. It's really incredible. The medicine for me really allowed me to access things that were from my youth, and I got to see some things that I was told and things that that happened when I was young that created beliefs that I operate now at, say, when I was 30 years old. And so I'm like, oh, wow, I behave this way as a 30-year-old because of something that happened when I was 5.
Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is the ayahuasca works in a very physical manner. It's not enjoyable at all. For me, it feels like it's pumping my stomach. And so, and it's like, there's like something inside of me moving around. And then what ends up happening is I will focus on one part of my body, and then I can feel it coming up, and I associating it with a moment in time. And then it comes out and I'll throw it up. And when I throw it up, there's this huge release. You still remember, you still have the memory, but it doesn't hold the same meaning it once held. And so, after having the experience, I feel much lighter. And most people who have the experience walk around the next day, seeing the world differently again. So it's a really beautiful thing that I have had the chance to enjoy. I hope more people get to learn about it because I'm not really sure what the laws are in the US, but there's 2 things that we know is true. Is it's really hard to treat people with plants in the United States because they're not patentable. And there's the same reason, there's many different reasons why the government's been really opposed to marijuana over the last 50 years. It's just, there's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons is pharmaceutical companies aren't pushing for it to be legal because there's no way to patent it. And it does solve some right? And so the same thing with ayahuasca. It's a plant, so no one's really paying for the research to see what the benefits.
Yeah.
So, and truth be told, things like magic mushrooms.
Can they go to your site and learn more about it? Because people are going, I'm spending all this money on this psychologist or therapist. I'm willing to fly to South America to get it. I mean, but where would they start? I mean, is there more information on your site?
I don't have more information on my site about that. If you go, I don't have information on my site on my podcast, The Bledsoe Show. On that show, I do address it quite a bit, and I have a few friends I've interviewed that have had experiences that. The trouble is it's hard to make a recommendation because just like any other practice, there's a wide variety of how good somebody is, and you're working in a third world country. And so there's a handful of people that I know down there that I could recommend, but it's not something that I'm advertising heavily. So I would recommend for a lot of different reasons. So I would recommend if somebody's interested in trying it out, do the research. There's documentaries on it, and just make sure that you get referred to somebody. If you really want to do it and you ask around enough, you'll get referred to somebody who's really good. And there are people who do it in the United States. It's done because it is something that was brought up by the indigenous tribes. It's considered something like Native Americans can still do things like peyote. Oh, I see. But a religious thing. So there's the opportunity for that. I would just urge people, if it sounds interesting. By the way, it was I've done some really challenging things in my life. This was top 5 most challenging things I've ever done, maybe top 3. So it's not fun. If you think you're gonna have a good time doing it,
yeah, it's not.
Don't do it.
It's not the point here. The point is releasing trapped emotions. I don't think that's ever fun. So, anyways, hey man, we're out of time. But we so appreciated you, coming on. And I know it was kind of last minute, but it was a blessing for all of us and our viewers and listeners. So, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you, Dr. Pompa. I've been sitting here this whole time. I'm going to run around and squat and hang, and I'm pumped. So thank you for everything you shared and all the awesome take-home advice too. I think all of us who are watching and listening are ready to go move around a lot. So thank you so much. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.
See you guys. See you, Mike.
Bye.